Welcome to episode 17 of the Take Two podcast, where we feel very safe. I'm Kenny,
I'm Sam.
and today on the pod, we crash land into Wes Anderson's newest film, Phoenician Scheme. Let's go.
All right, and we are live for episode 17, the Phoenician Scheme review, Wes Anderson's latest film. If you didn't catch the last episode, we ranked all of Wes Anderson's films. He has a lot of them. This is number 12. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to slide in for me, maybe slide in for you on a scale of whimsy and see where that lands. Yeah, and we can just sort of, I guess, jump right into it. I just saw it today. Kenny saw it a week ago, so he's maybe had time to let the film marinate. And I've only had today, really. I was in the theater with two other people, so I had my pick.
Two other dudes, once again.
Two chicks, surprisingly. Yeah, two like middle-aged chicks. I was like, huh. I was like, what are you two doing here? I honestly didn't expect that. I thought I was gonna find like one or two Wes Anderson doppelganger looking weirdos in the theater on a Monday at 10 a.m. But it was just like two chicks. So cool. Kenny, do you want to kick us off with your thoughts?
Yeah.
Maybe your rating for the movie and where it lands for you. And let's hear it.
Yeah, so this is Wes Anderson's 12th installment. The movie centers around a very shady businessman. Some may argue like some sort of a mobster almost, in Zsa-zsa Korda, played by Benicio del Toro, and people keep trying to assassinate him because he's a bad dude and has screwed a lot of people over. And because of that, he decides to bestow his line of succession, if you will, his birthright, upon his estranged daughter, who has been an officiate, right? No, what's the word I'm looking for?
A nun? She's
a nun
nun
in training.
Yeah.
She is maybe ovitiate. Oh gosh, I'm like blanking on the name of that word. Anyway, she reluctantly comes, as any good Wes Anderson moviegoer knows. He's not a good dad, and shockingly, Sam, this is gonna blow your mind. They are estranged.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Yeah, an estranged father-daughter relationship.
Toro is another kind of deadbeat dad who cared way more about his career and screwing people over, not at all about his family. He's very a Henry VIII kind of character, where he kind of like loses track of his wives a lot. He has 10 children. He chooses to bestow his, kind of, hey, I don't even remember the name of the nun in training, but his daughter, he says, hey, you're going to take over my vast kingdom one day. But in order to do that, first we have to convince a bunch of other mob lords to buy into the Phoenician scheme. Now, Sam, you're fresh off of the movie, so I want to ask you, what would you say the Phoenician scheme is?
Okay, I was really confused by what the Phoenician scheme was. Like, I'm not afraid to be transparent and be like, I'm really not one of those people that typically looks stuff up like afterwards. I like to just, if I didn't get it, I don't oftentimes want to look stuff up. I want to try and figure it out, let my wheels turn on my own. I couldn't really figure it out. It seemed like maybe some sort of scheme to control water rights in like a desert state or something. I don't really know. It was, honestly, I was a little disappointed and confused at how vague he made it. Wes Anderson likes to leave a lot of stuff in the gray and keep it vague. I think it's another step in the real meta direction for him, where he's like, ooh, the name of the movie is the Phoenician Scheme, but you know what we're not going to do is like explain it really well. But we're going to like explain like vague details around it. Like, I was even confused continuously throughout the film about the gap percentages right? Like
Right.
they
Yeah.
keep
It's
showing these.
making you having to do a lot of accounting math kind of in your head as you go. So
Right.
basically, the premise is there is this Middle Eastern state of independent Phoenicia. So going back way back when the
To the
Phoenicians,
50s.
the predecessor to the Carthaginians who ruled over Tyre and Sidon were their main areas, and so it's kind of like any good Wes Anderson movie, it's like it takes place vaguely between the 30s and 50s, you know?
Right.
And there's this upper state of Phoenicia, and it's a way of him and all of his buddies, all of his other mob lord buddies, Zsa-zsa Korda's mob buddies, to basically control the entire supply chain. It hits you really fast in the movie, and luckily, like any good Wes Anderson movie, like what's happening in the plot is like okay if it's fuzzy. It's not really what he's that interested in. He's more interested in the set pieces and he's more interested in his character developments. Um, but this one does kind of come at you very fast, where you're like, oh, okay, he's trying to figure this out. But in order for him to make money, he's known as Mr. 5%, which means he's trying to work everyone else up. But as he goes through, he just experiences a series of failures to where he's not able to talk the 10 people or whatever it is up to the the number that he needs in order for him to be profitable. And at the same time, his daughter is trying to convince him out of, hey, let's not screw people over. Like, hey, let's not have slave labor. Hey, let's not cause a famine and all this or other sort of stuff. So that is my understanding of the Phoenician scheme. I did have to sit on it for about a week to be like, okay, what happened that were like what happened. It is interesting because I do think that this movie, more than a lot of other Wes Anderson movies, except for maybe his animated films, other than Isle of Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox, it's a pretty linear movie. Not like he's not usually disjointed, but it was very like plot heavy. Like, hey, we're going to do this and this and this and this. It's very sequential. And then the entire time you're trying to determine the deficit that he's getting up to. And but yeah, at the end of the day, like any good Wes Anderson movie, it's about the set pieces and it's about the characters.
I do think though, to go off that, like, and yeah, we can get into set pieces, we can get into the characters, we can review that. I do think the lack of like clearness in explaining the plot, though, it brings the film down a lot, considering
Yeah.
his best films, like we ranked him last week, and my top three are, Moonrise Kingdom, The Life Aquatic of Steve Zissou, and the Grand
Royal
Budapest
Tenenbaums.
Hotel.
Oh yeah.
All of those are very similar in that they do follow a linear path where it's like, and like many, like you were saying, Wes Anderson films, we're gonna see a lot of sets, we're gonna go to a lot of places, we're gonna meet a lot of different people, but all those, the plots are very clear with the motivation of the character, and I felt like it was a miss on the movie for sure, especially with something you're kind of excited for, just in the title, and honestly, it kind of goes back all the way to Bottle Rocket, his first movie, where these people are trying to scheme something up and pull one over on someone, and I just didn't come through that well for me. So I was disappointed on that, to be honest. So
Yeah. What are you? Let's kind of back up a step and like, what are you giving this movie? Like
okay,
out of 10 Zazas, how many Zazas are you giving it?
I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. I don't know what I don't know with him. I think, like I said last week, the more you watch his films, the better they get. But if I'm giving it a rating upon first review, I'm giving it a 5.5 out of 10. I know I'm just supposed to blindly love Wes Anderson because he's, the crown prince of
He's your
indie
guy.
film. He's my guy. Like, I go to bat for him, but it just failed on a lot of levels to me. And Wes Anderson failing is still overachieving for a lot of people, but I'm going and paying $8.50 for a matinee film, and did I feel like I got my money's worth? Not necessarily. I'm like, I would have thrown a $5 at the film, and that's why I gave it a 5.5. That's about what the film is worth for me, is like 5 2/4. It really just, it's towards the bottom for me. I think it's maybe my 11th favorite film by him. It's right towards the bottom, like, which is crazy, right? Like, his last two films are his last ranked films for me. I think
Yeah.
goes he goes meta again. We've got these black and white scenes where they're talking to God and angels, with and those scenes are interesting enough. And it's Benicio del Toro. He has these blackouts from these near-death experiences, and he has these moments with God, which is interesting because throughout the film he's like, "Oh, I don't really believe in God," but then by the end of the film he comes around to like believing in God, and in a sense, and because he has all these experiences. But again, here's what I'll say. It goes just too heavy, and that's where like I feel like his last film went wrong too. Is they're just leaning too heavy. There's just a lack of fun to me. There's a lack of innocence. There's a lack of joy, and I think it can even be seen with his. He has like a new ensemble that he's ushered in the last 2 to 3 films, right? It's like Jeffrey Wright's in there. You see Tom Hanks in there. You see Bryan Cranston in there. Scarlett Johansson is back. You're missing Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson and Jason Schwartzman and Adrian Brody and a lot of these earlier characters, or actors that played so many characters in his films are vacant. And the problem with that is all those characters in his earlier films are naturally really funny. And he puts them into almost these kind of ridiculous, semi-serious roles. And because they're naturally funny, it comes through like it just hits this perfect blend of like the actors are doing their job so well, that you're laughing and enjoying these films. Where now I feel like he's taken these actors that are really established, and those actors almost appear to me to take these roles too seriously, and or they're trying too hard to be funny. I can think of like the Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston basketball horse scene in the movie where I'm just like, it's kind of chuckly, but you're like, geez, like he's never had something like this ridiculous in any of his movies. And it's these like serious actors doing it. And it's just like, I don't know, it just comes off like kind of corny to me, where before like all this stuff was just like, I don't know. It just feels like even Scarlett Johansson being in the movies, like I like her, but like she didn't add anything funny to the film. She was just kind of like, and she did a fine job. All the actors did a fine job, but I just feel like we're missing some charm and some heart in the film from this group he grew up with. And I don't know why they haven't been in his films as prominently. Maybe he just wanted new people, and that's totally fine. But at the end of the day, like that is his OG crew, and the new one just isn't hitting for me as I wish it would. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's totally fair. And as I've kind of sat on it for about a week, I think I've ended up. It's probably like I've really enjoyed all the Wes Anderson movies I have seen. I think I landed on giving this one a 7 because I do think I liked it more than Asteroid City.
Me too.
The tricky thing that I keep like butting up against is it just because I got it? Like there's nothing to really not get
Yeah.
in Phoenician Scheme. It's like, even though it's what exactly the Phoenician Scheme is, it's not like nearly as esoteric or as heady, in my opinion, as his like more recent movies has been, especially as Asteroid City apparently was. As I was doing some reading on that, I was like, whoa, I clearly did not understand this movie when I watched it. So I do enjoy it more than that. I agree with you that it feels a lot more grounded, and I think it's just very clear to me that like Wes Anderson is chafing against something.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to like, and I think part of it too is just like the public
Persona of him.
Yeah, well, I think the public is like, we want you to do something different. We want you to do something different. And, I think that there's some like the public is wanting something very specific that they cannot define out of Wes Anderson. And he's chafing up against that. And he's also like, okay, what's this next step in my career? Like it's no longer, this movie is not the dollhouse that we were used to in Life Aquatic or in Fantastic Mr. Fox or in Grand Budapest Hotel. It's not that way at all. It's the colors aren't as bright. The colors actually to me kind of go back more to like the Darjeeling, like right before Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah, it was.
And
Colors are flat in the film. There's like
mhm,
the opening scene is beautiful and cool. They're still kind of flat. And really not until the finale when we get these bright blues and oranges with this sort of
mhm.
Egyptian look. It's just forgettable, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and,
It
and
just feels like he's trying, it feels like he's trying something different, and like he just can't. It's I think that there's a lot of growing pains, and I feel like, he's produced what, four things in the past 4 years, really, because it's been this last year, it was Asteroid City. Before that, it was the shorts with Netflix, the Incredible Life of Henry Sugar. I might be getting these mixed up, and then it was French Dispatch 4 years ago. So he's been making a lot of stuff, and I feel like he's just like experimenting to be like, where am I going to land?
I
And I don't
think
know if he knows yet.
I think okay, all that's a great point. Great points. He's missing, I feel like, the fun that he used to have in his films. The fun just doesn't feel there. The plot maybe and the scenes maybe where it's like, oh, airplane exploding or and
Hmm.
landing and stuff like that, but it just doesn't feel like his heart is necessarily like fully in it. And going off what you said, like, oh, the public wants something different. I think that's frustrating because I remember
Agreed.
when Moonrise Kingdom came out. It's my favorite film. I've seen it like a dozen times. I've taught it in school. And I remember critics responding to that movie. And it generally, like across the board, it was like everyone was like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It's amazing. But there was a small group of people, and I think this is when Hollywood started to creep into him a little bit. That was like, people were like, oh, you're only going to like this movie if you like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant films because that's like how it is. And I remember seeing criticisms of it like that. And I was like, boy, like I hope this doesn't affect him, like these criticisms. And he still keeps most of his characters generally waspy, but at the same time, it's just like the innocence and the fun is gone. Like I know you haven't seen Moonrise Kingdom, but like it is like comparisons are everything for me, right? Moonrise
Yeah.
Kingdom is a 10 out of 10 for me. So like you
Hmm.
having this at a 7 out of 10 and only being 3 notches down below Moonrise Kingdom, to me, I'm like I had to put this at a 5.5. And if it wasn't
Right.
Wes Anderson, I'm like, shit. I'm like, maybe it's a 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a
Right.
3. Like, it's really like,
Or maybe it's higher. It's the same thing that we talked about when we talked about Ryan Coogler, where it's just like they're like, these guys are masters of their craft. The bar's higher for them, and that's okay.
I just don't
And
know. I'm watching it and I'm like you're like, oh, Jenna might want to go see it. It's a movie where I'm like, I don't think Lauren's gonna like this movie, and she loves Wes Anderson to death. She's like me; she's seen them all
mhm.
multiple times, and I'm like, I don't even want to recommend it to her. I'm like, I'll watch it with you. Like, I know you're not gonna love it. Like, I don't really want to rewatch it super bad. There are, I would say this, there are some hits throughout the movie. He hits some dialogue phrases well, right? Myself, I feel very safe. Like he does this in all of his films where like he has some actors say stuff over again. Like I thought it was hilarious Benedict Cumberbatch at the end over and over saying like I have everyone's blood like over and over again. I don't
Oh
know,
yeah,
as
yeah.
they're fighting. Like I found that hilarious. He has like I think the trio, Benicio del Toro, Mia Threppleton, and Michael Cera, all do a really good job.
So good.
I think
Yeah.
they're really good, but I also think
Let's actually dive into that a little bit. Let's talk about like your like your who do you think are your favorite performances
I thought
from the movie?
Mia Threppleton was my favorite. I thought to be in a nun outfit the entire time and to have as much dynamicness and personality as she did, I enjoyed her. I've never seen her in anything, but I was like, okay, she was awesome. I thought Benicio del Toro did a great job. He did a great job at everything except for The Last Jedi. And so there's that. But he's an amazing actor, and I thought he was a fantastic lead. And I thought Michael Cera was also a really fun, quirky third piece of the puzzle in this movie.
Hmm.
But overall, like everyone else, I just found like a little corny, like from Tom Hanks to Bryan Cranston. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was all right. Actually, I like Benedict Cumberbatch. I thought Jeffrey Wright was good. I like Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright was really good.
I thought the others were forgettable. Like you have the cameos like by Bill Murray and Willem Dafoe. Like, I don't know,
Hmm.
kind of weird and just
Bill Murray plays God though, and I
yeah,
do
yeah,
find that
he
quite
does.
funny.
But I'm also like, again, kind of just like a corny, like, you know, you can tell like the sets are just like cotton on the ground and like just kind of missing.
Mhm.
I feel like a full attention to detail and or an
Yeah,
over.
yeah,
It's like, oh, we're gonna intentionally oversimplify heaven by putting like obviously fake like snow to be clouds on the ground, but then we're gonna really detail the backgrounds. Like, I don't know, it was just he's
yeah,
trying too hard. It's just like you said, it's like he's pushing up against something, he's just missing his like whimsy. Where the f is the
yeah,
whimsy? Like, where's
yeah.
the
It does.
color?
I agree. This movie is, and I found like it's tricky because I knew that you were gonna ask me the question of is this like where's this rank on whimsy, and I find Royal Tenenbaums to be a pretty dark movie, all things considered. But I actually do think this movie has less whimsy
Oh
than Royal
yeah,
Tenenbaums. Like it- several things. I think that Michael Cera was born to be in a Wes Anderson movie.
yeah,
Like the fact that they like, and Wes Anderson's good at being like this dude like belongs with me. And so I'm really hoping that as we move forward, Michael Cera's in more of it. I also like I really enjoyed Benedict Cumberbatch in his role.
yeah.
I feel as though he had he hit a peak when he was playing Smaug and when he was Sherlock and all of this.
Yes, yeah.
I you know what I mean? Where he
And
was,
the talisman guy or whatever with the rope,
oh yeah,
Doctor
Doctor
Strange. Yep.
Strange, Theory of Everything,
He was just
playing Alan
everywhere, right?
Turing. He
Like,
was everywhere for a while, and then he just like he chose some bad projects, and so it's cool to see him kind of like back in his bag. And I think that him playing this role is really fun, very characterized. His eyebrows are ridiculous, the
yeah,
beard is ridiculous.
he looks good too.
Um, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
of all the
he's
characters, he
he
pops well.
yeah, like he has like the Wes Anderson blue is just in his eyes
Hmm.
in a way like it was for So Owen Wilson have blue eyes? I kind of
Yes,
I
yeah, I believe so.
yes. And so just like that same, and same with Bill Murray actually, which is kind of interesting. But the there is whimsy in the Michael Cera character in particular, who plays this professor who teaches botany, who ends up to be, spoilers for the movie, but I think it's okay at this point, um, a CIA agent basically who's coming to spy on Zsa-zsa Korda because they're trying to take him down. The other thing that is pretty funny in the movie is Zsa-za's whole plan is kind of uprooted because this like very vague conglomerate of dudes in a room decide to increase the size of railroad ties or increase like the price by a few
Sabotage.
cents. Yeah, and it kind of like blows the whole thing up, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I think after I really liked the movie as always, you know. Like I come out of I think when I go to a theater and I come out, I'm like I'm just riding high. I'm like, yes, I just went to the movie theater. I feel so good sitting with it a little bit longer. I do think Jenna is going to like it. I think we're going to go see it again this week. I still think that she's really going to enjoy it, and I do think there are some very, very funny moments. There's less of there's just like it's like not a very Wes Anderson movie. I think that's kind of what we're getting at is like not only is there not the whimsy, there's also not necessarily the melancholy that comes along with a lot of this. There's a nature in terms of, Benicio del Toro is staring down his own death because people keep trying to assassinate him, but it's not. There's never like a moment where you feel like he is experiencing a lot of sadness, nor does he ever feel any level of regret that we often see in these deadbeat dads, the Wes Anderson deadbeat dads of regret. There's
Mhm.
never like he never feels bad about not being there for his kids, and that's something that is a trope in every single movie, whether it's Royal Tenenbaum, whether it's Steve Zissou, whether it's man, Mr. Fox might actually is Mr. Fox the best Wes Anderson dad?
He's a great
I
dad.
think he's actually, yeah, he's there, right? He's around. So
Mhm.
I think by default he might be the best Wes Anderson dad. Happy Father's Day
Oh
to all the
yeah,
great dads out there and
yeah.
to you, Mr. Dad. So you're better than Wes Anderson dads. Good job.
I'm just not as quirky.
Yeah. Uh yeah, the music is also a little bit doesn't quite give you. Yeah, there's just like
It's and the sad thing about the music is it's Alexandre Desplat, who's like an amazing composer, and he did original music for the film. But it's like, yeah, Kenny, you're gonna watch this movie, go watch it again, and pretend you really like it, and then you can go watch Moonrise Kingdom, and you're gonna be like, oh, the music's gonna be stuck in your head, and the colors are gonna be stuck in your head, and everything. You're gonna want to go rewatch it 4 times right away. Like similar like Fantastic Mr. Fox. There's like music from that gets stuck in your head. None of that here. Like there's not a tune that gets stuck in your head. It's just kind of like his orchestra going, and you just, I don't know, it's forgettable. Like I honestly think it's like up there with most forgettable Wes Anderson films for sure.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And I haven't heard any hype about the movie, like at all. No. Like I have heard zero hype about the film, like straight up. When a lot of his films, I would say The French Dispatch, like even there was more hype for The French Dispatch, and that was a weird movie. And everything before that was like, there would be hype that would come out, and people I knew would be reaching out and be like, oh, did you see this? Did you see this? We're going to see it. No, none of that. Like there just seems very little interest in the film. Yeah.
Which is a shame, because I do think that out of all the movies that we've seen this year, I still think there's nothing in that, like, there's not anything wrong with the movie. It's just like the bar isn't high. Like, it's still a good movie. I feel like it would still be rewatchable. I think it's still rewatchable. Still,
I don't know. I don't know if I'm there. I mean, I just watched it, so it's my gut reaction. But like, and like, I'll say it's just good enough. Like, I don't have any desire to go rewatch it. Like when I'm thinking Wes Anderson, if I didn't love the movie the first time around, I get pulled back thinking about the colors. I get pulled back thinking about like the vibrancy of the characters, or like the whimsy or the quirkiness of the task at hand, or just the overall vibe. And like, I just don't have any of that in this film, which is a bummer. Cause even seeing the commercials, I was like, it doesn't look like it has that Wes Anderson pop. And I was really hoping a lot of it was going to be saved for the film, and it just didn't come home for me. So I was let down, but, you know, I get it. Like it's Wes Anderson, and like you said, he still nails all of his shots. Like they're perfectly symmetrical. He does this
like intro scene where they're doing the scroll, and it's Zsa-zsa Korda like sitting in the bathtub.
It's a beautiful scene. It's the coolest scene in the whole movie.
It's
right?
very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool.
I think the basketball scene is the coolest scene in the whole movie, but
I don't know. That's so corny. Like
it's so funny.
It's just like, I don't know. He's just like, ugh, I don't know. Like, it's just like, it didn't hit for me, I guess. I don't know.
Do you think that, I do think that Asteroid City did pretty well. I don't remember French Dispatch doing particularly well. Do you think that this kind of slight decline in his prowess might actually end up being a good thing for him?
I mean, it could be. It's typically better to just put out bangers all the time, like Scorsese and Chris Nolan. Like, I get it. There are times like
not every single one of Chris Nolan's movies always make money, but not all of them are bangers.
Every movie by him is virtually a banger. The only movies,
Dunkirk is not a banger.
That's the only thing I was gonna say. Dunkirk is the only film I've been let down on. And let's Oppenheimer's overrated, and he only made it because Dunkirk and Oppenheimer, I love Chris Nolan. He's taking some slander. He's going to take a little slander, and I don't know why he's taking back into slander in a Wes Anderson theme podcast, but we got here, and I'll say this while we're here for 2 seconds. The only reason he made Oppenheimer, which feels like it could have been directed by anybody, was because he went to make what was it? When he made Dunkirk, that was Oscar bait, 100%. That did not have Christopher Nolan's typical stamp on it, and he tried putting some time stuff into it. No, it was nothing, and it wasn't a good movie, and it did really well at for the critics because it's a war movie and historical and whatever. The only reason he made Oppenheimer is because he was like, oh, I need to make another historical film, and this time they're going to give me Best Picture. And now he can go F off and do what he's supposed to do and make Odysseus, and it's a match made in heaven, and it's going to be like the greatest movie ever made. And so, yeah, so maybe, like you said, taking some Oscar bait or going down for a little bit can help. But I feel like he's to kick it up a notch. It's been 3 films in a row that for me have been towards the bottom, and like you shouldn't be that low down. Like this movie shouldn't be worse than Bottle Rocket, and it is. So
right,
yeah.
Sorry, back to the Chris Nolan thing. This year marks the 20th anniversary of Batman Begins.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies.
At some point, we should do like a rewatch and talk about those movies. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen Dark Knight a dozen times. I think I've seen Batman Begins a dozen times. I think I've seen Dark Knight Rises 10 times. Like, I've seen them all so much. Like, but they're amazing. So, I mean,
what would you say? Like, if you were, I mean, I think we've talked about like 3 things that we wish would have been in this movie. A little more whimsy. 2, or B, a little more color. And 3, that melancholy,
and 4, a better plot,
really,
like a better, more straightforward plot. Like we mentioned, his best 3 films have very straightforward plots, even though they go, they do these things like they have this.
There's not a lot happening in his best movies. Like 3 brothers are on a train to reconnect, or a busboy and a hotel manager go on a heist. Like they are all fairly straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just everything needed to be better in the movie. And yeah, I hate to say that, but I'll try and rewatch it maybe at some point when I'm just like, I can't find anything
else.
Not so
sad about it.
Is there any other thoughts you have on the film?
No, I actually think that's it. And I think it goes to show, it's like we are 30 minutes into this podcast and we pretty much said all we wanted to say about this movie. Again, I still do like it, but it is missing
your enthusiasm, Kenny, for the film is bouncing off the walls.
I know. It's very electric. I still think, like, final thoughts, I guess.
Final thoughts.
This movie is still worthy of seeing. There are 2 or 3 shots that I think are great to see in a theater, but I do not think this movie is necessary to see in a theater. And like with any Wes Anderson movie, you're not going to go into it and it's not going to be bad. Like you can go and rest assured that you are still in the hands of a master filmmaker, but he's not at the top of his game. And I think this movie just ends up in that position to where someone who is this good, we want a lot. We just are hoping for a lot more from, and we haven't gotten it. And I think that's the disappointment that you're hearing from us, is not that it wasn't satisfying or not that it like offended any, I don't know, sensibility in terms of it being like a terrible film. It just isn't. It didn't have the Wes Anderson-ness that you go to see a lot of these movies for if you're a big fan of his.
My final thoughts, I guess I'll bounce them off of what you said a little bit. And my hope is that, Wes Anderson, can you take a break? Can you take a breather? Can you go on vacation? Like, go find some inspiration that brings you back to where you once were, right? Like, listen, everyone knows I'm a really famous TikToker, obviously. And I'll tell you this, I'm no Wes Anderson. But I remember for a moment of time, and I was starting to build some success and a following on there. And it got to a point where it was like, I felt stressed. I was like, I have to make something every day or every other day. Like, and the quality I felt like was lacking when I was putting out a ton. And I just didn't, and I wasn't excited to make them anymore. You know what I mean? And it's like, I've taken a break for 3 years. I just started making TikToks again. And like, I feel like the quality is way higher, right? Like Lauren's watching them is like, oh my gosh, I just feel like these are like, yeah, same vibes to before, but the quality just feels higher. And it's like, yeah, because I'm excited to do it and because I took a break. And I think
Right.
a lot of people are like that with anything. Like Michael Jordan took a year and a half away from basketball to realize like he needed it and he needed to come back. And he came back and he won another three-peat, like instantly. Like, you know, and his powers grew. And maybe that's what we need from Wes Anderson.
He had Space Jam.
He had Space Jam. Yeah, he needed Space Jam. So I guess that's just my hope. Like, Wes Anderson, can you go chill? Like, can you find some actors that maybe are like naturally funny and put them in serious roles and that I think is your recipe for, or your recipe, your Wes Anderson. That's good. It's a recipe for success. Is take some people who are actually funny and put them in serious roles and let the whimsy be created. So that's all I have. So thank you guys for listening to episode 17, and hopefully within the next week or so, Kenny's going on vacation, but we're going to get a rom-com battle royale video out and hopefully some guest stars, and it'll be super fun. So
yeah, in honor of Celine Song's newest film, The Materialists, we are going to be doing a rom-com battle to the death.
Yeah, in honor of Madam Webb's Dakota Johnson, who is starting in The Materialists.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Goodbye, everybody.